Hi, welcome to the GCU YouTube channel. We are talking today with author Marci Cox. My name is Emil Cicogna. I will be the interviewer. I work here at GCU as well. And Marci, welcome and thank you for coming in today.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And we are here because you have written a book, which is actually among other books that you've written, but the one we're going to talk about today, why don't you tell us the title, if you want to show it, and tell us how you came to write this book.
Sure. So it's called Mommy Has a Boo-Boo. And in 2018, I was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. So basically, I never thought I'd be a writer, and because I did real estate full time. And I knew I had to tell my story. And so I just started writing it because I also have 2 daughters. They were 1 and 5 at the time. And there's so much information out there, but I wanted to explain my story to them and what I was going to do, because I ended up doing a double mastectomy without any reconstruction. And so there's many women that will get reconstruction done, whether it's by implants or like something called a deep flap. And I read, I was looking at books that show about like you're losing your hair from chemo, which happened to me, and things like that, but it never really discussed staying flat. And so basically my book kind of goes through the changes of what a mom goes through. And like, for example, let's see if I can find something in here real quick. No, it talks about surgery, and like here, this is my little mom and daughter picture.
Sure.
But here it says, Mommy gives you a great big hug and kiss. You can feel all of her love. With no more boobies, when Mommy gives you a great big hug, you are even closer to her heart. Can you feel it beating a song of love for you? And I mean, you're just, who needs them, right? But,
I mean, I'm glad that we're here talking today because that was news no one wants to get.
right.
I don't even know how to begin to talk to a child about having surgery. And can I ask, who are you writing this book for? In addition to your children, who else would you like to see reading this book?
Yeah, I mean, basically, any parent, any grandparent, aunt, any woman who's going through it and needs to explain it to a child of, what's going to happen with breast cancer, because you want it to be easy for them to understand and make it not so scary.
Right. So the idea is that they would read this book with their child.
Correct.
Wow. That's awesome. Did you encounter any specific challenges while you were writing this book, being so close to yourself?
Yeah, I mean, so I ended up self-publishing the book, and it was hard because I had to find my own illustrator. I had to do a lot of formatting. I changed formatters, just where to place the text and how to do all of that stuff, what size book. I mean, I learned so much that I didn't know any of it, and so I had to do a lot of research about it. Right,
that's part of what we wanted this interview to convey. How did you find an illustrator for this subject matter?
So there's a lot of sites such as Fiverr or Upwork. And I'm sure I went on there and I researched, and it depends what your budget is, of course. And I know a woman here locally in Phoenix, and she's an artist. Brooke Foster is her name, and she posted something on her site, and it just drew me to it. And I said, I want her to be my illustrator. So I reached out to her and told her what my story was going to be about. Had her do some sample work, and this is how it came to be, really.
Wow. Well, now we're going to probably place a copy of this book in the GCU Multicultural Literacy Center. How would you suggest to even a student teacher or a regular teacher how to use this book in the context of education?
So, I mean, it's a great learning tool because when my kids, my oldest was 5 at the time. And so I even went to her teachers and I said, if you see the change of attitude or something that's going on with her, here's the reason why. And because, she's at home scared that Mommy may die. And so we want them to understand, if they've got an attitude problem or change, like their grades aren't going well. And so it's a great book to teach, to help with that. And then actually along with this book, right after, I decided to do a journal to go with it. It's called Mommy Has a Boo-Boo, Now What? And it's a discussion journal where kids can go in there and, for example, so here's a picture like, Mommy is seeing the doctor today, how do you feel? And so it's a great discussion and questions because kids are so intuitive. They have so many questions. Well, Mommy usually drives me to things. Who's gonna drive me now? Or who's, you know, whatever, like Mommy's gonna lose her hair, what's she gonna look like? And I have a picture of some hats or a place where a child can even draw and say, hey, Mommy, this is what I want you to do, because I got matching wigs for my daughter and I. And, you know, I had hats and things, but most of the time I went bald. But I was just very open with my child. And so some families, it's hard to be open. And so these books really bring that discussion out.
Right. What a great companion to the book to have I didn't know you had, I call it a study guide because I've done
Sure.
But what a great tool for people who are not teachers, who have no idea how to approach a subject like this with a child. I mean, it's such a great, you know, companion to the story. Thank you for showing that. And is this the first book you've authored, or how many have you done already?
Yeah, so the first book was The Mommy Has a Boo-Boo, and I collaborated with my 8-year-old. We've done 2 coloring books, and I've done some other breast cancer journals and a word search book. And so we've published 8. We've self-published them all, and I'm currently working on my 9th children's book.
Wow, good for you. Have you had any time to even look into possibly, you know, contacting an agent or a publisher who works with children's books, or specifically these genres of children's books?
You know what, that's funny you say that. I have not yet. I mean, in the beginning, you know, that was a route that I was thinking, was to try to find an agent, because I want to get these into the hospitals. And these kids, you know, they want to see, especially the new book that I'm writing. It's actually about a child learning they have cancer. And I'm going to do a boy version and a girl version, but different ethnicities, because I want the children to see themselves. So we're talking Caucasian, African American, Asian, and Indian is the ones that I'm thinking I'm going to end up doing. And because these kids, I mean, cancer doesn't discriminate. And so these kids want to see themselves and go, hey, there's someone else like me. And
this can happen to anybody.
It can happen to anybody.
Wow.
I mean, I was 40 when I was diagnosed, so that's young. And I had, you know, really my second mammogram, because women don't really get their mammograms till they're 40. And, you know, these women are getting younger and younger, getting diagnosed, and you've got to have that out there, because even the young ones don't know how to explain, or, you know, they're just graduating college and getting diagnosed.
Well, what a universal message to go get screened.
Yeah.
It's not that hard.
Right.
And yeah,
Be
it
an
doesn't
advocate.
matter.
Yeah, be an
If
advocate
you feel
for
you're
yourself.
too young, how do you know? You're not a doctor.
Right.
Sorry. Okay, what would you say to a first-time author, someone, whether they're a younger person or an older person, who wants to write a book? You took it upon yourself and have created numerous books. What would you suggest to someone who's thinking of writing something?
Well, I actually opened up my own agency called Pad to Publishing. And so I help authors become self-published. So as long as they've got that book written, possibly edited, if not, we can help find the editor, because you've got to make sure you've got all that done. You've got to write up the story, you've got to get it edited, and then from there, we got to find the illustrator. Then we've got to format it and text it. And people don't realize you want to get your own ISBN number. Because if you use, like I've got my books on Amazon, but if I use their free ISBN number, I can't go and sell it elsewhere. And so a lot of people don't realize that. So there's so many things behind the scenes that I'm still learning, but
The business.
yeah, I mean, it's like the business, it's another full-time job.
Absolutely.
So there's so much that goes into it that we're so unaware of. Like, if you want to get into the library, you need to have a Library of Congress number. And so there's so much.
Great information, especially for anyone planning on writing something. Do you have a favorite author, someone you like to read?
Gosh, well, I like murder mystery books. I mean, romance. So I like Stephen King, Helen Hart, some of those juicy things, juicy novels. So yeah, I mean, I'm a variety. I really like to read a lot. I mean, now today with the Kindle, I mean, you can't go wrong. You can take a book anywhere with you.
Right, right. But in doing your own work, you got away from the mystery fantasy and got
To
to
more reality.
reality based.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Again, I know I asked you already about getting an illustrator, but for someone who has absolutely no idea where to start, where might they go about getting someone? Because sometimes the illustrations really bring home
Oh,
the message,
absolutely.
especially to children.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, like I said, there's Fiverr, there's Upwork. I even reached out to colleges for their art departments, and unfortunately, I got nowhere with that, which is so crazy because you would think that the art students, they would grab at this chance. So you just got to go out there. I mean, I'm on Facebook, I'm on a lot of Facebook author sites, dealing with children books. And so of course you've got illustrators on there that you can get referrals from. So you really got to go and do your research, and also make sure that you have your own contract for a work for hire. So that you own those illustrations, because I've done I'm now producing merchandise to go along with my books. I have a pillow to go with the Mommy Has a Boo Boo, the 2 coloring books that my daughter and I wrote. We have pillowcases that you can color on with fabric markers.
Wow.
But I own those illustrations now, so I can do that. I can make stickers, I can make magnets, I can make bookmarks.
Right, you pay the person who's
pay
the
the
illustrator,
person.
but then you have ownership.
I have
of that
ownership,
work.
correct.
That is so important to know. One more question.
Yeah.
What other books do you have coming? I know you mentioned the coloring books and things like that, but any other books?
Well, yeah, the other book I have coming is the children's one, with the child learning they have cancer. And so that one's definitely in the works. I'm trying to find the illustrator right now, actually, because I've got it edited. And I definitely have some more things I'm thinking of doing, some more coloring books, maybe some more journals. You know, you never know what the future holds.
Good for you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And thank you for spending time with us today.
Absolutely.
We're going to be sharing this with as many student teachers and other teachers as we can. Thank you, Marci.
Thank you.
That was